100% slavery has an active role in poverty with our people today. It doesn't matter when it was ended. The money that was generated from slavery is still in circulation within the United States economic system. More than being in circulation, it's foundational to the United States economic system. The slave trade wasn't only the only benefactors weren't just the slave holders, right? It weren't just the plantation owners. The entire financial system that we rest upon is built off of the slave trade. So if you got any bank that goes back to the 1800s, guess what? They participated in the trading of slave papers, right? They don't have to have been in the slave auction business, but slave papers are the origination of the stock market.
They insured the slaves and shit like that, right? Yeah.
Exactly. This idea of what we call stocks and bonds comes from livestock and bondage, right?
Holy shit. Say that one more time. Cause you just got them that was a bombshell right there.
This is the truth, right? We hear this phrase stocks and bonds and immediately think Wall Street and numbers and red and green and ups and down and this, that, and the third. But slaves were considered stock. And it was the biggest traded stock in the entire world, not just in the United States. You could trade your slave notes and papers in Europe because these things are valuable. You talking about guaranteed money, right? Listen, it's only one metric that matters in business: profit margin. Before I even say this, right? The largest expense for every business that I've ever looked at on paper is payroll.
Hold on.
So if I've looked at, let's say, like community budgets, right? The city of Newport News does an annual budget, and they chop up the money and shows where that goes and stuff like that, right? And they send half of the money that they send from the city goes to the school board. Looked at the school board's budget, right?
Like 330 something million.
Lots of money.
Year.
Lots of money goes to the school board. Looked at the school board's budget. What percentage of the school board's budget do you think went to salaries? Just say a number.
Over 50%.
85.
God damn!
Money only goes to people, bro. Money don't go to bricks and paint. It goes to people who lay bricks and put up paint, right? So they're not worried about how much these supplies and accessories and materials cost. People take money, right? So since we know, right, one of our largest expenses, and having a decent sized payroll means you got a decent sized company, right? You want a large payroll because that's how you make your money. You're not paying the payroll people what they make you, right? So whatever you're paying them, that's your markup essentially, right? You already know that's money coming in. Right. So having a large payroll is good. Not so good in the 1800s with slavery was cool though, right? Because they didn't have payroll on the books at all, right? Their books look like materials and bottom line. No labor, no labor costs whatsoever, right? So if we know, right, the only metric that matters, the only measurement that matters in business is our profit margin, which is how much money we make after we spend the money to produce this endeavor, right? That profit margin is vastly increased when you don't have payroll, right? So everybody in this slave trade situation is taking a piece of that profit margin as they're trading these papers, even if they don't even touch a slave, right? You know one of my favorite things about 2020?
What's that?
Brooks Brothers went out of business.
And yeah,
you know how Brooks Brothers started?
Y'all, I don't.
Making clothes for slaves.
But Brooks Brothers, I always was like looked at like the classy, fly.
Because they had to make a change once the slave trade ended, and they couldn't make those clothes no more. But they was already well established as a company, just from making slave clothes, right? So them going out of business was. And all of them can go out of business, right? I don't care. All of them can go out of business. Anybody who's still around, I don't care if you changed your name, went through these mergers and acquisitions. If you are circulating slave money and got your nose up as you driving past the hood, I pray you go out of business, as a matter of fact. I'm actually aiming to take them out of business. That's my goal.
How much is generational wealth still a part of the economy? Like, are these new millionaires killing generational wealth from these old people that have been owning all the lands and controlling the money for all these years?
By no stretch of the imagination. Generational wealth is still the only money that's out there, right? Now, we've reached a point in our economy where capital capitalizes, right? That's the Bezos phenomenon, right? Where he's the richest man in the world by measurement of his portfolio value of the stocks that he owns as Amazon stock prices increasing as, this forward projection, right? But as far as tangible money that's been built, that's circulating, that's, in all of these other businesses, that's old money. It's been old money because capital capitalizes, right? They have to put this money to work in these forms of businesses so that money can continue to retain itself and cycle itself. They have foundations, they got all sorts of stuff, right? But old money has not disappeared. It doesn't disappear. It just capitalizes and recapitalizes. So, like I'm saying, that foundational level of money is slave money. Point blank, period.
So is the whole pull yourself up by the bootstraps thing, is this actually a reality?
No, that's marketing, right? That's wealth-based marketing. It's debt-based financed marketing. So that you think, I gotta hurry up and get out of poverty. What's the fastest way? Go get some credit. Go borrow something to go do something with, right? What they don't tell us, right, ever, in any part of this system of go do this and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, is have a fucking plan, right? What they tell you is go do this, go do this, go do this. You follow their checklist. Their checklist ain't gonna do shit but put you in debt and in servitude to other companies that are trying to bleed that loan money right on out of you, right? So you go get your loan to start your business, you got $100,000. Well, you don't know how to do nothing else, so you got to pay your lawyer, you got to pay your accountant, you got to pay the suppliers and the material providers and this, that, and the third. You got to put that money right back into the economy. If you don't have a plan, though, a strategy as to what I'm going to do with these materials, what I'm going to do with these expenses in order to make sure that I can recapitalize that money, you're going to fail, right? That's why they have the statistics about business failures. Because you don't have a plan and you're going to fail. And I don't just mean just a plan, right? Because people think we got a plan if you got a few ideas and yada yada. I mean a strategy, right? Like every football team has the plan to win the game, right? Everybody plans on winning. Right. The only one that's going to win is the one with the strategy. Right, exactly. So, it's a difference between planning and strategy. But here in America, this ideology of, hurry up and get it done is what's pushed out there. Strategies sound too much like slow motion to people, right? It's checkers. I mean, it's chess when people would rather play checkers, right? Unfortunately, we playing chess. Right. So, you might think checkers is cool, but we playing chess.
It essentially, like, how much time, because we're hundreds of years in the hole, will there ever be a balanced playing field in terms of economics?
Yeah, we can do this before we hit the dirt, straight up. Like, we can do this before my youngest kids have kids. This is doable, right? Because of this McMillionaire ability now, right? This idea of how capitalism... This idea of how capitalism capitalizes, right? And this removal of it from anything tangible and allowing money to just be math is why Bezos has been able to become the richest man in the world so quickly. That ability exists for anybody now, right? It's not, geared towards one person or another, one group of people, nothing. This McMillionaire ability has been created now and it can't go away, right? So combine that ability to increase capital drastically and quickly, combine that with strategy, right, from a business perspective, combine your strategy, your capital with land ownership so that you diminish your drain out, right? Because that's your biggest drain out. If you don't have a whole lot of other debts and stuff like that, it's just paying for where you stay, right? That in and of itself, to me in America right now, is probably the second biggest shenanigan behind insurance, right?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that, you know, our ability to essentially charge people to maintain somewhere to lay their head is provisions for perpetual poverty, right? It is a setup for it. We allow people to spend up to 50% of their income in a lot of cases. More than that, I'm talking about like they will literally at the bank leverage you to 50% of your income in some cases. So that one of your bi-monthly paychecks simply goes to pay for this. And you got to figure it out with the other one. Our acquiescence to that, right? Just fuck it, we gonna do it. That's crazy, right? It's just as crazy as going to the hospital and not knowing how much some shit gonna cost until the bill comes, right?
We do that.
We do it though, right? But it's 2021, right? We have to question everything. All of these economic lanes that have been created for us are just that, created for us. They ain't gotta remain, right? Uber don't give a fuck about the car manufacturers, right? Henry Ford rolling over in his goddamn grave because who gonna buy these shits?
Right.
Uber is trying to destroy car manufacturing as a opportunity.
Damn, I ain't even think about it on that level.
Nobody is going to
correct.
buy cars if I can just call one. I ain't got to deal with that maintenance. I ain't got to worry about that gas. I ain't got to worry about that insurance, right?
Yep.
Fuck that lane is what Uber said, right? All it takes is somebody to decide, fuck that lane. We'll destroy it, make a new one. Make a better one. In anything. We've been doing this same thing in America since we've been here, right? It's time for some changes. It's time for a lot of change.